Well, we see Cheryl Reeve wearing a shirt today in support of trans kids. Trans kids belong on the shirt. This in the aftermath of Sophie Cunningham's recent comments. We actually saw Cheryl and Sophie speaking at center court.
At that very moment, Cheryl Reeve's body language immediately stands out because it doesn't feel casual in any way. Instead, it appears intentional, reflecting a coach making a political statement during a nationally televised WNBA game for everyone watching. ESPN made sure the audience noticed by zooming in on her shirt, praising it, and encouraging viewers to check out her comments online as well. What truly makes this situation feel explosive is the timing, because it unfolded right after Sophie Cunningham said women's sports should be for biological women only. As it all happened, we were witnessing a direct response unfold in real time right there on the court.
To go see Cheryl Reeve's comments. By the way, Sophie did not look like she backed down from Cheryl Reeve. I've got more coming on all of this. This is right here. Sophie Cunningham, by the way, took a ugly elbow in this game, and the refs called the foul against her.
What the ESPN broadcast team isn't revealing is what really happened before the game during that interaction between Cheryl Reeve and Sophie Cunningham. Take a close look at Sophie's posture, with her arms crossed and absolutely no sign of backing down. This wasn't a reconciliation moment like the media tried to portray it. Instead, it was two people standing on opposite sides of a controversy that has the WNBA fan base deeply divided right down the middle. Later in that very same game, Sophie took an elbow to the jaw. The referees kept their whistles silent, and no foul was called. If you want to talk about consequences, that's exactly where the conversation begins today.
You could see the deficiencies in this team showed out. The bench is not deep enough. There's not enough length on this team. Again, we were saying that as free agency was going on. And then the draft, when it really blew up, and they took Raven Johnson instead of a big. And they got rid of Justine Passat.
Everything unraveled for Indiana in the Lynx' 108-100 victory, and this matchup highlighted everything that's been discussed about the Fever's roster construction ever since the draft. The team selected Raven Johnson instead of adding a big, allowed Justine Passat to leave, and now Monique Billing is logging significant minutes while remaining nearly invisible on most nights. The bench simply isn't deep enough. There's a lack of length across the roster, and Kelly Krakoff assembled a team that can't match up with Minnesota's starting five. With each passing game, that reality is becoming even more painfully obvious for everyone watching. More than just another defeat, this performance revealed exactly the kind of formula opponents could rely on to challenge the Fever in a playoff series.
Lynx team is good. They're real good. Caitlin Clark had a double-double, 19 points on 8 of 18, struggled from 3, 2 of 9. She had 2 wide-open threes. Late in the fourth, she missed them both. It was brutal. 10 assists. Kelsey Mitchell had a huge day. 37 points, 14 of 21, 6 of 8 from three-point range.
Minnesota has built something seriously impressive with Keir McBride, Howard, Courtney Williams, and now Olivia Miles taking over at point guard. That's a genuine championship-caliber core. They've spent the entire season without a traditional center and are still overwhelming opponents. Courtney Williams poured in 27 points on 12 of 20 shooting, while Olivia Miles exploded for 28 points, going 11 of 14 from the field and 3 of 6 from beyond the arc. This wasn't
only took 2 shots, 3 points. Michaela Timpson, 7 points on 3 of 4. Michaela Timpson should be playing more in these games. Lexi Hall should be playing less in these games. 14 minutes, had 6 points, but just not contributing to this team in the way that you would hope. Truly.
Although Caitlin Clark recorded 19 points and 10 assists, giving her another double-double on paper, her shooting told a different story. She finished just 2 of 9 from three-point range and missed 2 wide-open threes late in the fourth quarter when the Fever desperately needed those shots the most. They're the kind of opportunities she usually knocks down with ease. Kelsey Mitchell carried the offensive load by scoring 37 points on 14 of 21 shooting while connecting on 6 of 8 from beyond the arc. She even added 3 assists, showing some progress in that area. The biggest takeaway, though, is that when your second-best player has to score 37 points just to keep the game close and the team still loses by 8, it says everything about the lack of depth across the roster.
Clark with some mid-range action.
More movement to 24.
This is pretty nice. She's going to roll over, a little pull-up from mid-range. It is a nice addition to her game, to her bag. How about Caitlin Clark with a great, pure block shot?
Earlier in the game.
Aaliyah Boston finished with 15 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists, which looks impressive on the stat sheet, but the actual game told a different story. She only received 2 quality opportunities all night, just 2 shots, and that's a major concern. Michaela Timpson should be seeing more minutes in matchups like this after scoring 7 points on 3 of 4 shooting in limited action. Lexi Hall played 14 minutes and provided almost no impact, while Mahisha Hines-Allen went from meaningful rotation minutes to only 2 minutes in this game. That sudden change raises questions, and it's a coaching decision that deserves an explanation. Caitlin Clark also took Olivia Miles one-on-one and attacked the basket, and we'll get into Olivia Miles shortly. You already know I like Olivia Miles, and I'm not going to hide that. She played extremely well today. Caitlin Clark remains the WNBA's all-time leader in assists per game, and the gap is not even close, sitting nearly 2 assists per game ahead of Courtney. The most frustrating part of Stephanie White's coaching in this game was the decision-making. Caitlin Clark was called for a foul on what appeared to be a clean block, a perfect defensive play with nothing but ball contact, yet White chose not to challenge it. Once again, it feels like a recurring issue where she's not protecting her star player with the challenge flag, and it's becoming a noticeable pattern. Then she inserted Raven Johnson for a random 4-minute stretch that disrupted the rhythm of the rotation. I've liked many things from White's coaching recently, but this game featured some confusing decisions that directly affected the final result. This group of Collier, McBride, Howard, Williams, and Miles is going to be incredibly difficult to face, and even harder to defeat. The Fever have shown they can compete, but this opponent has proven they can be a serious challenge. And now we have to return to what started this entire controversy, because this goes beyond one single game. Cheryl Reeve wore a shirt supporting trans kids as a direct response to Sophie Cunningham's comments about biological women in women's sports. During the broadcast, ESPN highlighted the situation by directing viewers to find Cheryl's comments online, giving significant attention to one side of the debate while not equally showing the other perspective. What makes this situation even more notable is that Sophie Cunningham never stepped away from her position. She remained firm during the pre-game interaction, later took an elbow to the face during the game without a foul being called, and continues to have strong support from people who believe women's sports should remain protected for biological women. This issue is not disappearing, and the WNBA now faces a major question about the future meaning of women's sports. The league may try to present one accepted viewpoint, but the fan base remains divided. One side agrees with Cheryl Reeve and views trans inclusion as a civil rights matter, while another side agrees with Sophie Cunningham and believes biological women should have protected spaces in athletics. ESPN didn't simply cover the controversy. They appeared to give extra attention to Cheryl Reeve's position during a live broadcast. That raises bigger questions about the future of WNBA coverage. If a player supports Sophie's viewpoint, what message does that send? If someone believes women's sports should be for biological women, can they express that publicly without facing backlash? Sophie took an elbow to the jaw in that game, and no foul was called. Maybe it was just a coincidence, but the timing creates a situation that doesn't look ideal, especially with the coach wearing a political statement shirt leading the team involved in that play. Moving forward, the Lynx will continue to be a major challenge for Indiana. That starting group of Collier, McBride, Howard, Williams, and Miles has the tools to expose the Fever's weaknesses. They have size, depth, multiple players who can create their own offense, and they're playing with confidence right now. Meanwhile, Indiana is still searching for the right rotation, trying to get Aaliyah Boston more opportunities, and looking for consistent bench production. Caitlin Clark is now the WNBA's all-time leader in assists per game, with nearly 2 more assists per game than Courtney Vanderloot, who ranks second on that list. That's a historic level of playmaking, but she cannot carry the entire load alone. Kelsey Mitchell cannot be expected to score 37 points every night, and Aaliyah Boston cannot make an impact when she barely gets opportunities. The supporting cast has to improve, and right now, that hasn't happened consistently. Stephanie White now has important rotation decisions to make, especially regarding why Mahisha Hines-Allen suddenly went from meaningful minutes to being almost completely removed from the rotation. The Fever now have several major questions that need clear answers before the most important part of the season arrives. What exactly is the plan for getting Aaliyah Boston more involved in the offensive system? Why isn't Stephanie White using the challenge flag when Caitlin Clark appears to be on the wrong end of obvious questionable calls? These decisions matter because Indiana is quickly running out of time to fix these issues before the playoffs begin. But beyond the results on the court, the bigger conversation is about the growing cultural divide that is splitting the WNBA fan base. Cheryl Reeve made a political statement on national television, and ESPN gave that moment major attention during the broadcast. At the same time, Sophie Cunningham stood firm behind her own beliefs and faced criticism from those who disagreed with her. Fans on both sides are extremely passionate, and this debate has created one of the biggest conversations surrounding the league. The problem is that the WNBA appears to be sending a message that only one side of this discussion is acceptable, and that creates a difficult situation moving forward. A league cannot continue building its audience by making a large portion of its supporters feel ignored or unwelcome. The WNBA cannot expect long-term growth while pushing away fans who believe biological women deserve protected spaces in athletics. And ESPN's credibility can come into question when viewers feel the network is actively promoting one side of a controversial political issue during live game coverage instead of simply reporting the story. So now the biggest question remains. Was ESPN right to highlight Cheryl Reeve's Trans Kids Belong shirt during the broadcast? Should WNBA coaches have the freedom to make political statements during games? Or should the focus remain only on basketball? And where do you personally stand on the larger debate about women's sports and whether trans women should be included? This controversy is not disappearing anytime soon, and it could become one of the defining discussions that shapes the next era of the WNBA, whether the league wants that responsibility or not. The conversation is already happening among players, fans, media members, and supporters across the basketball world. Let me know where you stand in the comments, because this is the discussion that continues to matter. And if you want the complete breakdown of the Sophie Cunningham rally, the supporters who showed up, and everything that happened around that moment,